Welcome back, Secret Chapter Agents. It is day 7. Okay, now I didn't annotate as much, and I did annotate in this chapter. There were some very interesting things. New character also was introduced. Dafydd, David, might be David. I'm gonna have to look up how to pronounce that. It's D-A-F-Y-D-D. Now that Y-D-D usually has an I sound. So in the F, maybe it's more of a V sound. So David, but Dafydd might be it as well. It's an interesting one. I'm not quite sure. Again, it's British sounding. Could be Irish, could be Scottish. Ooh, we had some hints there. I'm going to pop the map up here. They talked about how at the other parks they're doing the vigil as well. The vigil is to honor the spirit of Santa, and in hopes of getting him to want to return, because again, remember, it's been almost 10 years and he hasn't delivered any presents, and we have now kids who've never experienced receiving a gift from Santa, and the teenagers knowing what it was like. So, and obviously the young adults, because not so long ago they were kids too. So there's this movement happening from Edinburgh to Cardiff to London. So they're all over the place starting to host their own vigils. But our park ranger is not a happy camper about this, because he thinks that this is bringing out the vagabonds, which is a nicer way to say homeless. We can't say that either these days. These days we have to say the unhoused. Homeless is homeless. Vagabonds, maybe it's a nicer way. The indigenous. That's a tough word to pronounce. But the other thing he brought up, that they bring mess with them. The armadillos, those are really cool, and are they kind of weird to see in a park? Yes, because then we know that people are then sleeping in the park, and there should be some kind of housing. But at the same point, he was talking about the chocolate wrapper that was in the bushes, and that was offending some people, who were then also offended by not offended by homeless people who wanted to have the vigils and protect the homeless at the parks. Those are probably the people who left the chocolate wrapper, because I'm pretty certain that the homeless were not leaving chocolate wrappers in the bushes. But these are things that could be taken care of on a local level without chasing away people who need a park bench to sleep on. But then again, there were other things, other agencies doing things in there. So this was a very, we're going to use a big word, convoluted conversation. And that leads me to Duchess. Oh, she stepped up. Now, I'm wondering if this is a clue, because Juniper said something about, oh, she's a good actress. She kind of was, because she put on the airs with her fancy accent and spoke in a very complimentary manner to this guy, this random person who was there for his own reasons and had nothing to do with offering any assistance or any condolences. So I think that was really interesting and telling. I actually have that in my notes, because we've got another clue as to the levels of Duchess's intelligence. She's very smart. She knows how to use words to guide people's behavior. So the example is that accent. She used this accent that made him respond in a certain way, in a way that she desired, in a way that allowed her to lie to him and him accept it without questioning it. And then she also used her words again to trigger Juniper to not have an issue, to not throw a fit or a tantrum or to speak up. So I thought that was very interesting that she has this know-how of accent and compliments and trigger words that give hints or messages to shut up. That was very interesting. So we have another layer to Duchess. Now, moving on. This guy. Yeah, he's interesting. There's some things he said. So if we go to page 100. Page 100. He says, I need you out of the way before the Santa vigil. Sorry, tongue-tied. I need you safely looked after before the vigil. Excuse me? I need you out of the way? Why? That gives me kind of bad vibes there. Like, what's he up to? Then he does elaborate, which sounds like maybe it's just because he's concerned that she's going to be concerned about, transforming things and removing the people and, moving the donations or burning them, and, removing the armadillos. So is he right? Is that really what he was there talking about? I don't know. Because then we go to page 111 and we get another little clue about him. This is from the author. He's the narrator saying this. Now, if you remember a couple chapters back, the narrator told us Mum was not coming back. So I'm wondering if this is a clue again, because again, he said very straight, very matter of fact, she's not coming back. So I think this might be, again, matter of fact. He says, and with false promise. The park director bowed and scraped his way backward down the short paved path. False promise? Okay. What's our false promise? I'll let you know if I hear anything about Juniper's mom. I don't know. I don't think that's what it is. So I find him interesting. And I know we're going to meet an evil character at some point, but is he maybe in league with this evil character? Now, on the word front, this chapter, not quite as heavy in the words, but still quite a few. The epaulets, the military epaulets that were on the jacket, the verge of tears, like, yes. And then there was the verge of anger. Prattle, loved that one. Doft, I'm going to have to check into Doft because that's not one I'm familiar with. Now, I'm thinking that just he's doing something to his hat. I'm not really sure on that one. Now, memory. Oh, we have a memory problem. So that leads me to my two questions. Is Juniper, when will she remember that she's imprinted with the reindeer and that she's met Santa, Nico? When's she going to remember that? Obviously, we're running low on time. And my second question is Dafydd, this dude, Carnegie, Mr. Carnegie, is he misguided or is he actually up to some kind of evil? So those are my two questions. Now, the memory one, this is important because we've gone this whole chapter without Juniper remembering that night's experience. She's foggy. She's got something going on, but she doesn't fully remember. And by the end of this chapter, I almost didn't remember. Very good job from that author, tricking us.